name is Per, and today I would like to talk to you a little bit about that. I think I have become the rememberer. I have taken my fourth step in the 5-step ladder, and yeah, sounds crazy. I know, I don't care. Go away if you don't want to hear what I have to say or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Even if you comment on it and whatever, I don't care. You can't change me. I can change me. And I remember. We. I remember my path. I remember what we're supposed to do. I remember where we can go to. And wow, holy fuck, what a beautiful place. Oh my God. I remember. I remember. I can't remember all, that's for sure. I mean, I have just become the rememberer. But wow. I got a couple of signs the other day. A friend of mine was talking about can you see it? It doesn't matter, but it's running down already. A friend of mine was talking about the first time that, or well, maybe it was the second time, but it was the first time I heard the story of a time where he had been out surfing. And as he was telling me this story of him being completely protected by gear in his head and on his head and stuff like this, and he somehow, this is just, I mean, I don't understand it, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. So what happens is he is surfing and he gets thrown off and into the water, and his head goes into this small cave, and then he gets scorpioned, as they call it, when your head is in like this. Well, let's say it's like this or like that. Your head goes in like this and your body just goes up like that afterwards, right? And this is backwards, right? So, and he's stuck in that hole and he can't get out because the next wave comes and the next wave comes, and a calmness comes over him that is that he doesn't understand it. Well, neither did I, but it just came. And then he tells me that he had a hit with the shoulder and he thought it was broken, but still calm. And then a moment came where he comes out of that and he sees a seagull next to him with a broken wing and in the water. And he somehow manages to get the seagull and get into the shore. And he brings up the seagull and puts it next to a lot of birds' nests that are up there. And then he just kind of like goes a little bit away or whatever, and then just like tilts back and go like, holy fuck, what the fuck just happened, right? And as he's telling me this story, I just start remembering having that dream. And when this whole thing he's telling me about having the his head stuck and that whole whiplash thing or scorpion thing, and then I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden what happens is when he comes up and that seagull is there next to him, it just clicked for me. Like, and I was just sitting there for, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes. Should I tell him? Should I tell him? Should I tell him? Should I tell him? And it was kind of hard listening to what he was saying afterwards because I kept having this voice in my head. Should I tell him? Should I tell him? Dare I tell him? And I was like, fuck, man. And so then after like 5 minutes or something talking about it, I just, at some point where it fit in perfectly to him going over the story again, I just said, I remember it. Like, not, I remember you just telling me that, just, I remember it. I said something and then I just finished off saying, I remember it, as if in saying, I remember the story, right? And then something else. I can't remember, but then we just like kind of went off on each other's way, and we had some other conversations about things that was kind of amazing because I may have discovered a way to save more surfers unintentionally. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So another thing happened to me like 2, 3 days after. I can't really remember the specific situation, but something happened that immediately made me remember. And then I was like, whoa, that's two remembrances, or whatever you want to call it, within such a short time. And I was kind of like I've been asking, what is it that my next step is in this supposed 5-step list? And then I realized it's me starting remembering. Which is so weird. So weird. Imagine having lived 1,000 lives or 1,000,000 lives and you don't know it. And then all of a sudden you start remembering. I mean, what? It's so strange. So strange. I, I don't know what to say. I truly do not know what to say. I am so fucking flabbergasted. It's crazy. But I know it's my path. and I remember it. And I'm so happy I found it. I am so happy. Not that I could ever not find it, but it's just, it's so mind-boggling, so mind-boggling. It's so, it, it makes so perfect sense. It's like, what the heck is going on? It, it's the, look, I have taken acid. I have taken LSD maybe once or twice. I've taken mushrooms, the psilocybin version, I don't know, let's say 100 times to be on the safe side. And I have taken ayahuasca. I have smoked Bufo alvarius, or the sap from Bufo alvarius, right? Which is a frog, which is the strongest kind of DMT that exists, or that at least that humans have found so far. Let's put it correctly, rather than falling into the gaps of being a human being. Because, oh my God, we are so clumsy and so blind and deaf. It's amazing. Anyway, none of it compares to what I'm going through right now. And none of this I'm going through right now is psychedelic. Right? I might be going crazy. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. It's what's happening. Right? And I'm just going with it. I can't do anything else. Anything else, I swear, anything else would kill me. I swear, anything else than doing this path would kill me. Because it's such a fucking mind fuck, in a way, waking up the way that I'm waking up, at least, that I don't know. But of course, it's because I'm trying to see if the mind can get it all, can understand it all. And I'm trying to intellectually see what it means to wake up. And holy fuck, that's a wow, that's a nightmare. But at least you can wake up through spirit, for example, right? And if you wake up through spirit, you don't need to wake up through intellectual stuff. You can probably also wake up through body, right? But I don't know how that would be, and or how to do something like that. But I do think that if you wake up in spirit, it's easier to wake up in body and mind as well. And what you do the other ways, if you like, if you can wake up through uh, body and mind, what you do is basically, as far as I can understand it, is find a path to spirit. You don't actually wake up and become I don't know what to say, but you and become awaken in mind or awaken in body. You do not. It's, as far as I see, it's not where things are. I mean, you can become clever, you can know some stuff, but you can never know all of it. Because knowing all of it is like crazy. Just think about the amount of stuff that's in this phone that we have here. The only thing I know is its exterior and its programs or apps. The rest of it, I have no fucking clue about. But if you were to like have to wake up mentally, you need to know that, right? Because or else you haven't woken up mentally, because it is understanding everything in here. It's not understanding everything in here, as in spirit, right? And understanding everything in spirit is very, very easy, because you don't have to understand things in details. You understand it in pictures, right? You understand it in, sorry, I have to blow my nose. You understand life in, I'm sorry, I lost track. Oh my God. Wow, this is so strange. I feel like the image of me in this video is like I'm a weak person or something, because I'm crying and all kind of stuff, because I'm picking up on all these energies that different people who are watching this video eventually are like sending out or seeing or hearing or experiencing. And it's not really anything to do with me, because I know I am all of it. I'm not one thing. You can't put me in one box like ego is trying to do with half of the world right now. It's not possible. There's simply way, 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 way too much to be able to do that. It's not like how many, like there people are saying something along the lines of like there are more stars in the whole universe than there are grains of sand on this planet, right? Have you been to a beach lately? I mean, just let's say you go to the beach and you stay there a couple of hours and you go home. Just the sand that you brought home, oh my God, there's a lot of sand. And you remember how much you left behind? I mean, holy fuck. How can you know all that by mind? By like, then you go 3 streets down and then 4 left and then 7 up and then 6. No, you, I can't fucking even remember this uh, village or town I live in if it wasn't because I spent what 20 minutes going over it in my head, because like oh yeah, that's right, that nugget leads to that and that nugget leads to that, and that small closed off street, that's where you can go from directly to the football field. You don't have to, I mean, come on. There's no fucking way anyone can intellectually wake up. That's not never gonna happen. I mean, I do not believe anyone would ever be capable of this. And I'm not trying to say stop doing that or don't go that way because no, I'm saying there might be an easier way. I don't really care how you're going to become enlightened, but we're all going to become enlightened. Whether it's 100 monkey syndrome, as people are talking about, um, if you don't know what that means, then that means that they went to some island somewhere, and there was a certain amount of monkeys on the island. And they noticed that once they looked over the tape, that whenever a monkey, they had potatoes there, whenever a monkey dropped the potato into the sand, they took it up and then looked at it and saw there was sand on it, and then they threw it away. All of them, all the time. They didn't do anything. They knew that that would just be sand in their teeth, and that's no fucking fun. Then one of the cameramen, when one of the smaller ones or one of the kids were uh, by the beach and had a potato and it fell into the sand, the cameraman did the same thing with his potato. And then what he did was he dropped it into or took it into the water and shook it and rinsed it off. And then he started eating it. And the small monkey noticed it and did the same thing. And then it started teaching others. And they say that when 10% of that island's population of monkeys knew to do this, all 100% knew how to do this. It became, because there was 10% in because there was 10% of the population that had that, of the common knowledge mind of that species or whatever it was, or subspecies of monkey, whatever the heck it is. Once 10% of the hive mind of them had it, the rest of them just got it automatically. And well, some people say that's one of the reasons why we might live in a simulation, blah, blah, blah. Let's put that aside for a moment right now, because that's not what we are talking about. We're talking about that when we wake up, we only probably, most likely, only need 10% of the population to wake up, then everyone else automatically wakes up. So it's not as hard for us to wake up as it may seem, because some people think, how we can't be all woken up until we find the guy out in the jungle that's furthest away from everyone and have him woken up too. Nah, we don't need to go that far, because if we needed to go that far, it would never happen. It would be literally an impossibility, because we would have to check every fucking crack and nook and don't know what at the same time on this planet to be sure we knew where everyone was at all times. And we are not enough people to check everything. So there's no way we could just like gather all people in a group and then talk about it, right? So anyway, that seemed like a bit of a sidestep, but it's quite uh, it's quite an interesting journey that we are going to have. But the first thing, the most important thing, is to learn how to forgive, because nothing, and I repeat, nothing that has happened here on the planet wasn't necessary to happen. No, all of it was necessary to happen for us to be able to wake up. Because there are things that you cannot reach. For example, let's say that you want to go drive a car, right? You cannot reach driving a car unless you first have made a road, then, or like a wheel, and then an engine, and then maybe a steering wheel, and put the engine and the steering and the wheel and steering wheel and carrossery, what's it called? Oh fuck. Anyway, but the whole chassis, that's what it's called. The whole chassis and all everything together, and then you have to have, before that, you have to have had all the stuff done with the gasoline so that you have combustible for it. But then you also kind of have to have a road to drive, because if not, everything is a little bit difficult to maintain, right? And so the thing is that this is what we have to do now to be able to get our car, right? And so these are all the things that we are needing to go through to get to the point where we are now, where enough of us has woken up to be able to speak about it, our awakening and what's going on, to people in a way so that we can um, get the debate going and get the waking up going better or faster or at all or whatever, right? Because it's, yeah, well, I guess I just said what I needed to say in that, right? There's, of course, a lot more in it and stuff, but the most important thing is to truly to understand forgiveness, because no one here has done anything on purpose, right? Everything has been a path that people have been led. Like, you don't, like, right now I'm sitting in an apartment on what, depending on where in the world you are, second or third floor, right? And so the thing is, I cannot get up here without stairs. I have to take this step and this step and that step and that step to get to the next floor. And then I have to turn around and go around and go up the next set of stairs. And that's the only way I can get into my apartment, unless, of course, I'm a wall climber or a what's it called? Uh, Dang, I'm doing too many words or too many languages on a daily basis. It feels like a rock climber, right? If you're a rock climber, then I could get up and I could get in without but generally speaking, like, you couldn't have a third floor apartment unless you built two floors underneath it, right? So there are certain things you have to go through to be able to get to your destination, your point, or whatever it is. And that's just how life is in itself. It's not something magical or mystical or anything like this. That's just the way things are. It's not possible to get to a point without taking steps away from the point that you are, right? It's just not. So we need to first, before we get to the point of like waking up people, we need to learn how to forgive people, because some of the things that some people have done seems to be, from the point of view where we are now, seems to be horrific, horrific. And they are no, sorry, they seem to be bad things. They seem to be evil things, and they are horrific things, that we can agree upon that. But what has happened up until now hasn't really been evil or bad things. It has been things that has been done to lead to this point. It has been things that has happened to get us to this point. Now, I'm not saying that people didn't do bad or didn't do in when I'm saying bad, in the sense, I mean it in the sense of, like, is it a beneficial thing, or is it a not non-beneficial thing, right? That's the only thing I'm saying, right? And so a bad thing would be a non-beneficial thing. So people have done some non-beneficial things, right? Because sometimes someone needed to be woken up to a different reality than the one that they were in, right? And sometimes that's the only way. And sometimes it's just like two souls somewhere that make an agreement and say, well, I've heard so much about this horrible thing here, but what does it even mean? I mean, like, I can from here, I don't understand what they're saying about like you'll be emotionally destroyed by going through that. I don't, it just makes no sense to me. How can anyone become emotionally destroyed? That's just like no. So I would like to try it. Is there anyone that's willing to do this horrific thing to me? And then another soul steps up and says, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." I've always wondered, what is it like to be the other person, or what is it like to do that, or but I've never really had an interest in doing it because, like, but since you're interested in trying that, I can step up and do it because that will help my question in mind, right? So, okay. And then they go down, and then one person rapes another, one person kills another, one person chops off an arm, a leg, a foot, whatever the heck it may be. And then they have that experience, right? And that's just it. But there's also the whole thing in it that we others are also having that experience. And sometimes we think, especially speaking in this specific situation, sometimes we think that that means that we need to go in and do something. But also sometimes it means that a third soul connects and says, hey, hang on, I have always wanted to like try and see if I could catch a guy that did that. Is it okay if I join this? Yeah. Oh, says a fourth one. I have always wanted to like observe it because like it seems like such a strange thing. Like how is it even possible? So would you guys mind if I'm like a guy over in the bushes watching, or if I happen to sit up in this window up here and see it, right? And then sometimes we forget these agreements, and then we like, oh, me, oh, yeah, right? Whatever the heck it is that people are doing or getting out of these situations. And so sometimes that's what we see, and it's not just bad stuff happening, right? Anyway, I think that was it for me today.